the democratic South Africa. On an occasion such as this, we should perhaps start from the beginning. So let me begin. I am an African. I owe my being to the hills and the valleys, the mountains and the glades, the rivers, the deserts, the trees, the flowers, the seas, and the ever-changing seasons that define the face of our native land. My body has frozen in our frosts and later day snows. It has thawed in the warmth of our sunshine and melted in the heat of midday sun. The crack and rumble of the summer thunders, lashed by startling lightning, have been a cause both of trembling and of hope. The fragrances of nature have been as pleasant to us as the sight of the blooms of the wild blooms of the citizen of the veld. The dramatic shapes of the Drakensberg, the soil-colored waters of the Lekwa, Igeli, Notugela, and the sands of the Kalahari have been panels on the sets of the stage, of the natural stage, on which we act out the foolish deeds of the theater of our day. At times and in fear, I've wondered whether I should concede equal citizenship of our country to the lion and the leopard, the elephant and the springbok, the hyena, the black mamba, and the pestilential mosquito. A human presence among all of these, a feature on the face of our native land, thus defined. I know that none dare challenge me when I say, I am an African. I owe my being to the koi in the sun, whose desolate souls haunt the great expanses of the beautiful Cape. They who fell victim to the most merciless genocide our native land has ever seen. They who were first to lose their lives in the struggle to defend our freedom and our independence. And they who as a people perished in the result. Today, as a country, we keep an audible silence about these ancestors of the generations that left, fearful to admit the horror of a past deed, seeking to obliterate from our memory a cruel occurrence, which in its remembering would teach us not and never to be inhuman again. I am informed of the migrants who left Europe to find a new home in our native land. Whatever their own actions, they remain still part of me. In my blood courses the veins of the Malay slaves who came from the East. Their proud dignity informs my bearing. Their culture, part of my essence. The strife they bore on their bodies from the lash of the slave master, a reminder, embossed on my consciousness of what should not be done. I am the grandchild of the warrior women, men and women that Heinz Kokuni led. The patriots whom Techayo and Pepu took to battle. The soldiers whom Mushweshwe and Gungunyane taught never to dishonor the cause of freedom. My mind and my knowledge of myself is formed by the victories that are the jewels in our African crown. The jewels we earned from the jewels we earned from Wazir to the north as Ethiopians, as the Ashanti of Ghana, as Berbers. I am the grandchild who lays fresh flowers on the Boer graves in St. Helena and the Bahamas. who sees in the mind's eye and suffers the suffering of a simple peasant folk. Death, concentration camps, destroyed homesteads, a dream in ruins. I am the child of Ndunga Hussein. I am he who made it possible to trade on the world markets in diamonds, in gold, in the same food for which my stomach yearns. I come from those who were transported from India and China, whose being resided in the fact solely that they were able to provide physical labor, who taught me that we could both be foreign and dear, who taught me that human existence itself demands that freedom is a necessary condition for that human existence. Being a part of all these people, and in the knowledge that none dare challenge me, I should claim that I am an African. I have seen our country torn asunder when these, all of who are my people, engage each other in a titanic battle. The one to redress a wrong done by one upon another. The other to defend the indefensible. I have seen what happens when one person has superiority of force over another. When the stronger appropriate to themselves the prerogative, even to another injunction that God created all men and women in His image. I know what it signifies when race and color are used to determine who is human and who subhuman. I have seen the destruction of self-esteem, the consequent striving to be what one is not, simply to acquire some of the benefits that those who had improved themselves as masters had ensured that they enjoyed. All this I know, and know to be true, because I'm an African. Because of that, I'm able to state this fundamental fact, that I am born of a people who are heroes and heroines. I am born of a people who would not tolerate oppression. I am of a nation that would not let the fear of death, torture, imprisonment, exile, or persecution result in the perpetuation of injustice. The great masses who are our mother and father would not permit that the behavior of the few should result in the description of our country and people as barbaric. Whatever the circumstances they've lived through, and because of that experience, they are determined to define for themselves who they are and who they should be. We are assembled today to mark their victory in acquiring and exercising their right to define for themselves what it is to be African. The Constitution we are adopting today is an unequivocal statement that we refuse to accept that our Africanness shall be determined by our race, color, gender, or historical origins. It is an assertion made by ourselves that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white. It gives concrete expression to the sentiment we share as Africans, and shall defend to the death that the people shall govern. It rejoices in the diversity of our peoples and creates the space for all of us voluntarily to define ourselves as one people. Our sense of elevation at this moment derives also from the fact that this magnificent product is the unique creation of African hands and African minds. But it also constitutes a tribute to our loss of vanity that we could, despite the temptation to treat ourselves as a unique fragment of humanity, draw from the accumulated experience and wisdom of all of mankind to define for ourselves who we are. Today, it feels good to be an African. It feels good to stand here as a South African, as a foot soldier of a great African army, the African National Congress, to say to all the parties assembled here, to all the millions who had input into the proceedings we are concluding, to our outstanding compatriots who presided over the birth of our founding document, to our friends across the globe, congratulations and well done. This thing that we have done today, in this small corner of a great continent, says Africa reaffirms that she is continuing her rise from the ashes. Whatever the setbacks of the movement, nothing can stop us now. Whatever the difficulties, Africa will be at peace. However improbable it may sound to the skeptics, Africa will prosper.
Wow, that was amazing. I felt like crying. That really touched me. As noted before, there's a change in our agenda. We are now going to have a short break. Thank you to all the speakers for the speeches. Thank you to our distinguished Toastmaster, Stanley Sabela, for that wonderful reminder that we are Africans. Sharon for reminding us to follow our passions, and Paulo to remind us that following your passion is a recharge. Be adventurous, have some fun. We'll break for a short 5-minute social. Maybe evaluators get together and caucus. We can have some snacks towards the back, snacks and drinks. We will be back promptly at 6:43. Sergeant at Ops, timekeeper, 6:43.